it's Glenn here from Precision Wealth Management. Just doing a quick video today on a strategy that I talk a little bit about to older clients, and that's about withdrawing their superannuation. Now I know you might be thinking, well, why would we do that? Superannuation is really good, it's a really good tax environment for your retirement, and that's absolutely true. It's a fantastic vehicle for accumulating wealth for your retirement. But in some cases, once you're already retired, it actually might be better if you withdrew the money and had it in a non-superannuation investment instead. And I'll go through the reasons why. Let's take, for example, a typical sort of situation where we might have husband and wife, and one of them's got a pension of $200,000 and the other one's got a pension of $240,000. Now what you have when you have two separate pension accounts is you have two smaller investment balances. And when we look at the fees and costs on that, that can be more expensive than if it was all bundled in together. Not only that, superannuation funds are slightly more expensive than non-superannuation investments because they need to manage the superannuation fund and tax returns, etc. So what you can do is join these together. Now you can't join two pensions together, but I'm talking about withdrawing the two of them out of the superannuation environment and then investing them in a non-superannuation portfolio all together in one fund. Now the reasons you do this is, first of all, the lower cost in administering that. So you're going to pay less in fees on one larger account of a non-superannuation investment here than what you would pay on two separate smaller accounts inside the superannuation fund. So all of a sudden, on a like-for-like basis in terms of investments, you're going to get better performance because you're paying less in fees. Now keep in mind that you can invest very much the same as how you can invest in superannuation, because superannuation is just a tax structure. Sure, if you're looking at Sun Super or Australian Super, you wouldn't be able to invest in their particular funds, but in the investment world, there's lots and lots of options to choose from that give you essentially the exact same outcomes investing outside of super. Now the other big thing that can be a benefit is when you have money in a superannuation environment and you were to pass away, and if that money is left to a non-dependent beneficiary, let's say to adult children, then they pay 17% tax on the taxable component within these two pensions. So you really don't want to do that if there's a chance that your superannuation is going to be left to non-dependent beneficiaries. So as an estate planning tool, this can be really beneficial because once the money's been taken out of the superannuation environment, this tax no longer applies. You might think, well, when you've got husband and wife, in the first instance, there might be one pass away first, and that's true. But having a non-superannuation portfolio also helps in that scenario too, because this investment portfolio will be in joint names. And when you have an asset that's in joint names and one of those two were to pass away, it automatically reverts to the surviving owner. So it can be a really simple setup in that instance as well. So you get the benefit of possibly avoiding death benefit taxes from superannuation, and you also get the simplicity in the other scenario where one spouse might pass away. So an estate planning thing is really positive as well. A couple of downsides to think about. If these pensions were in force since before 2017, they may have concessional income test treatment for the age pension. So you want to be careful around that. If you've got pensions that are pre-2017, you may be concessionally assessed under the income test and you don't want to give that away. At the moment, it wouldn't be an issue because deeming rates are so low, but it is something to consider because interest rates probably won't stay this low forever. And the other thing to consider is when money is inside pensions, the earnings on that money, the earnings on those investments are tax-free. Outside of the superannuation, they're now taxable in your name. Now, in most instances, that's not a problem because between the tax-free threshold, low income tax offset, and the senior Australian pensioner tax offset, retirees can actually have a fairly large investment portfolio outside of super without them paying any tax. So the tax-free benefit inside pensions is really not a benefit for a lot of people. And in this example here, $440,000, particularly if it's two people, is not going to pose any problems in terms of there being any tax consequences. You would definitely reconsider that if these were much bigger pensions. You wouldn't want this portfolio to be $1 million outside of superannuation. And also you need to consider if you've got other income streams outside superannuation. Maybe you have a federal government superannuation pension, which is taxable. Maybe you have other investments that are providing taxable income. So the other things need to be considered. Also, you need to project forward, going, well, this is our balance now, but if we're not spending it all, it may grow and grow into a taxable position down the track. And that's very true as well. So if you're sort of borderline on it and you're a bit younger, maybe keeping inside the superannuation environment is right for you. But this is definitely a strategy that I think people should consider if you're in this sort of range of assets within pensions and you've got no other taxable income, and particularly if you're a little bit older in retirement as well. This sort of thing can benefit. You get better returns on your investment because you've got your fees lower, you negate any possible death benefit taxes, simplicity around estate planning, and no negative other consequences. So anyway, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below or give me a call.